he using a bookkeeping service, or he got something, or he handling that by himself? He ain't learned yet?
He doing all that by himself.
We told that boy.
Listen, I told you can't make nobody do shit.
Oh, babe, I'm live.
Oh, I told you can't do it, man. You just, I told you, straight up. You know what I mean? You can teach people, but
yeah,
they don't do what they want.
Yeah, well,
the least thing is that you learn, and you offer an olive branch to people, and you just give them the courtesy. But at the end of the day, humans gonna do what humans supposed to do.
Yeah, well, I hope before it's too late for he blow through that, he might want to mention to him, hey, bro, if you don't trust me, you better go right to ADP.
People look at that like a lot of money. It's like, bro, that ain't no cash.
If the IRS get on his butt, he gonna realize he couldn't afford not to hire.
That is true.
Cause he ain't no bookkeeper. He definitely not a CPA.
What we always say? When you are a professional, you supposed to be a professional in how many things? One thing. Don't be a teacher of many and a master of none.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Don't you be like that.
Pick one thing. You do one thing. All right, beautiful people. Hey, right, look, I'm sorry. Me and my husband, we had started a conversation because I was having an issue with getting my get everything started. Let my son use my laptop to take this test for school last night, and I don't know what he did. Knocked me off. I had to restart everything. So, but anyway, we here now. We had already been talking, so we just finished our conversation. But anyway, top of the day, beautiful people. Tiffany, Sawubona, Yibo, Sawubona, Yaya, Jakarta, Shalom, Shalom, Mom, Shalom, Tikva, Grand Rising, Tabitha. Remember, Keon Cooper is Tabitha, y'all. She using her son account, Grand Rising. Shebrew, all praises to the Creator. Hana, Shalom, sis, Shalom. Kendrick, Shalom, sis. Okay. All right, beautiful people. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday. August the 25th, 2022, day 195 of year 4. I'm reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1,213. Today, we are picking up on page 513. Actually, we'll go back to 512 because I said I was going to reread chapter 8 to flow into the next couple chapters because I don't think it should have been broken up, but we was definitely at our time limit yesterday. So I'm going to reread it. We're just going to go and we're going to finish the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy today in OAHSPE. So, quick question. Oh, you asking Tabitha. Okay. Is it other handle, creator, gang? I'm being nosy. Okay, set apart. Happy new day. Father, there is no one who can remotely even think about being closely compared to you. None like you. Okay, y'all. Chapter 8, page 512. Remember, we read this yesterday. I'm rereading it. Okay. Let Eth stand as 1, Ga as 2, Aji as 3, and Corpor as 4. To give Eth motion 100 or 99, as the case may be. To Corpor, give 0, that is, no motion of itself. To Ga, 66, and to Aji, give 33. Eth, being the same time of light, is named Dan. Ga, the time of fevers, epidemics, plagues, and Aji, the time of war, dashing forth with power and grasping, me, the earth, being the subject. Still, there is another period to all corporal worlds, Luts, Luts. In the time of Luts, there falleth on the planet condensed earthly substances as clay, stones, ashes, molten metals disseminated, and so on, in such great quantities that it can be compared to snowstorms, piling up corporal substance on the earth in places to a depth of many feet, and in drifts to hundreds of feet. Lutz was by some ancient prophets called Uz, U-Z, because it was the time of destruction. If Lutz followed soon after a Simuan period, when portions of the earth were covered with Simu and rank vegetation, it charred them, penetrating and covering them up. Thus were made, for the most part, the coal beds and oil beds in the earth. Lut belongeth more to an early age of a planet, when its vortex is more extended, and when the nebulous clouds in its outer belt are subject to condensation, so as to rain down on the earth these corporal showers. The time of Dan is the opposite of this, and although it is the time of spirituality amongst mortals and the time of prophecy and inspiration, yet it is the time the earth is rapidly giving off its life force and its moisture rapidly growing old. Here's where the stuff about the prophets start. Y'all so fit. Shalom, capital Games James. Shalom. Okay, verse 7, page 512. Consequently, the two most important periods for the prophet's consideration come within 33 and 66, or, as they of old said, man and beast, in which measure man is divided into the two parts, man and beast. And there is ever a percentage in his behavior inclining to one or the other, and they correspond to the vortexian currents of the earth. The student must not consider merely individuals, but nations and peoples belonging to continents. Remember, so don't just focus on like individual prophecies or try to figure out what's going on based on individual happenings. If you understand the whole of the matter, you can easily, without fail, like clockwork, tell what's going on individually with the people, right? But if you don't know that part, you gonna hit and miss down here. You might get lucky. The student must not consider merely individuals, but nations and peoples belonging to continents, and the relationship that cometh of Aj or Dan or their percentage must have reference to such nations or peoples as manifest to its influence. Thus, suppose a grade run below 33, but not as low as 22, and such a people fall under Aj for a period of 66 years, or even more. War, destruction, death, and lust will come upon that people. But suppose the same fall of Aj come upon a people graded above 33 to 66, an intellect with oratory, music, and remarkable men of genius will result. But to carry it still further, the same fall of Aj coming on a people above 66, they will manifest in multitudinous lords, gods, and saviors, and in superstitions, rites, and ceremonies, which will all more or less pertain to sexualisms. The prophet is thus enabled to determine by the vortexian currents the rise and fall of nations, and comprehend how differently even the same showers and shadows of the unseen world will affect different peoples. And the same rules apply in the manifestation of Dan. According to the grade of a people, so will they receive its light. If below 33, they will become magicians and prophets without virtue. If above 33, but below 66, they will become self-opinionated malefactors, running into licentiousness for self's sake. If above 66, they will become true prophets, abnegating self for the sake of righteousness. Let the student compare the faithists of Capelia in India with the Kohuns of the same country, and the faithists of Moses in Egypt with the Egyptians of the same country. The faithists of both countries advanced, but their persecutors both went down to destruction. The peace of the faithists held for 400 years, and then the peoples began to choose kings, which was followed by 999 years of darkness. So that whether the vortices show approaching light or approaching darkness, the prophet must bear in mind the grades of the people. Any given light amongst mortals, as to the past, will thus show the date of its occurrence, whilst the heavenly lights will equally foreshow what will come upon any people. Verse 13, page 513. It is not sufficient It is not sufficient for man to know how to prophesy, but to learn how to overcome the elements of his surroundings. As previously set forth, there are regions of drought on the earth, which man must learn to overcome by causing rains to fall. Belinda Brown, hey auntie. Anita, shalom. He shall provide explosive gases high up in the air, which shall break the wind currents, establishing vortices from the upper regions downward. And when an epidemic is prophesied to a city, man shall dissipate the falling sea moon and thus save it from destruction. We ain't had nobody do that. The inoculation or vaccination of flesh with poison to save it from poison is to use the battle axe of Satan. Remember, we talked about that yesterday, like what they do with vaccinations, right? With vaccinations, they take some of the poison, inject it in your flesh to help save you against the poison. That's foolishness. I'm just saying, some people don't believe it, but it's foolishness. Which is why, let's not even get into it. They might ban my channel for saying this. The inoculation or vaccination of flesh with poison to save it from poison is to use the battle axe of Satan. Man shall learn the higher law, to save by virtue instead of vice. As to the grades, the student is referred to the book of S. Prophecy is not guesswork. Yes, baby.
I can end it.
Yes, you can end it, but I'm just getting started, sis. I'll call you when I'm about done.
End it, baby.
Prophecy is not guesswork. Absolute rules govern all things. A few individuals in a nation or of a people are a small matter, nor must the prophet swerve one jot or tittle by the pretensions of a people. As for example, the Brahmins, the Buddhists, the Mohammedans, and the Christians all profess faith in their respective gods and saviors, but their professions are false. Their faith is in the soldiers and standing armies and in the implements of destruction. A prophet must not, therefore, suffer himself to hearken to individual explanations. He must grade them in their entirety, whether they manifest below 33 or above 66, without regard to pretensions. We don't care about your sob stories and the way you looking at us either, right? When the student has completed his tables of Arachnabagala, I'm still saying that word wrong. When the student has completed his tables of Arachnabagala with the history of the period and taken measure of the grades of the different nations and peoples of the earth, he will find that he can not only foretell the future, but he can discover the past history for an equally long period of time. And when he hath thus completed 2 cycles, he can find a 3rd, and then a 4th, and so on until all the past history of the earth is delivered up into his understanding. And that was chapter 8 over again. So let's flow right into chapter 9 on page 513. The same force, vortexia, pervaded the entire universe, but differently according to volume, velocity, and configuration. As previously shown, colors are not substances or things in fact, but records of currents of vortexia, and are in proportion to their deviation from linear to adverse parallelism. These fall under the divisor or multiple of 3 primaries, yellow, blue, and red, corresponding to the times 11, 33, 99, and so on. The same rule was applied by the ancient prophets in music, making 3 primary sounds, E, O, E, the words of the wind. But, hold on, let me go back. The same rule was applied by the ancient prophets in music, making 3 primary sounds, E, O, E, the words of the wind, but giving all other sounds the beast, 66, which was supposed to cover the number of the sounds from the lowest bass to the highest treble that could be procured from the animal creation. And these range of sounds are manifest in man, whether singing or talking, according to the kind of vortexing according to the kind of vortexian currents that fall upon a country, and the grade he holdeth in resurrection. Let me go back and read that again. Hold up. Verse 3.
Mom,
Yes, let me just start it over from 1. What, Pooh?
I need some rye bread.
Go ahead. Let me start over. Make sure my thought is forming correctly. The same force, vortexia, pervaded the entire universe, but differently according to volume, velocity, and configuration. As previously shown, colors are not substances or things in fact, but records of currents of vortexia, and are in proportion to their deviation from linear to adverse parallelism. These fall under the divisor or multiple 3 primaries. Oh, I'm breaking it up wrong. These fall under the divisor or multiple 3. It's all a bunch of commas. Hold on. These fall under the divisor or multiple 3 primaries, yellow, blue, and red, corresponding to the times 11, 33, 99, and so on. The same rule was applied by the ancient prophets in making music, making 3 primary sounds, E, O, E, the words of the wind, but giving all other sounds to the beast, 66, which was supposed to cover the number of sounds from the lowest bass to the highest treble that could be procured from the animal creation. And these range of sounds are manifest in man, whether singing or talking, according to the kind of vortexian currents that fall upon a country, and the grade he holdeth in resurrection. So that even a whole people in one country will utter sounds higher or lower than in another country, some through the teeth, some in the throat, and yet others through the nose. Sounds, as in music, are not substance, but currents of air in motion, which register their broken discharges on the drum of the ear, so that it is possible for the ear to be so cultivated that it can detect these velocities so as to determine colors thereby. For of a truth, in entity, sounds and colors are one and the same thing, but registered one on the eye and one on the ear. I'm gonna go back. Sounds, as in music, are not substances, but currents of air in motion, which register their broken discharges on the drum of the ear, so that it is possible for the ear to be so cultivated that it can detect these velocities so as to determine the colors thereby. For of a truth, in entity, sounds and colors are one and the same thing, but registered one on the eye and one on the ear. In other words, the 2 organs of sense discover the same thing differently. To one, it is music. To the other, it is color. That's beautiful. Verse 5. If a man be given to reverie because of music or colors, his soul traveleth in the currents thereof, and he becometh oblivious to his surroundings. The vortexian currents in that case pass through him uninterruptedly. If one instrument in a room be played upon, and the other instruments in the same room be in tune therewith, the currents of vortexia will cause the others to give off sounds faintly. If said instruments be connected by wood fibers, the sounds will be louder. If the person in reverie holdeth the hands of others in the room, the same currents will run through the whole. Hence, music is the greatest of all harmonizers. Isn't that the truth? And I've tested this principle. Not that I was testing it, but I can remember, like while music is playing, yeah. Even dancing, like with your spouse or whatever, y'all, yeah. With music, it flows through the body. A person may be a great lover of music, but be so discordant in his disposition as not to enter the ecstatic state of reverie. Another person may not know how to sing 3 notes, but have so concordant a disposition that he is at once carried into ecstasy by music or by colors or by viewing the great harmonies of creation. The true prophet is such as hath attained concordance. The true prophet is such as hath attained concordance. The vortexian currents of any and everything pass through him. He seeth and feeleth with his soul. He is a perpetual register of everything near at hand. And if he cultivate his talent so as to estimate results therefrom, the future and the past are as an open book to him. This is amazing. We'll just say to him or her. We know him is talking about everybody together, right? Okay. Verse 8. That which is erroneously called instinct of animals is the capacity to be moved by the positive and negative vortexia. That's good. I read it again. That which is erroneously called instinct in animals is the capacity to be moved by the positive and negative vortexia. Were the positive and negative currents equal in duration, the sexes born into the world would be equal in number. Males are the manifestation of positive vortexia and females negative. The more positive the female, the less fruitful. But the opposite of this is the male's power. Let me go back and read that again. Were the positive and negative currents equal in duration, the sexes born into the world would be equal in number. Males are the manifestation of positive vortexia and females negative. The more positive the female, the less fruitful, but the opposite of this is the male's power. Herb food for man cultivateth the negative condition. Flesh food for man increaseth the positive. Okay. Herb food for man cultivateth the negative condition. Flesh food for man increaseth the positive, which is to say, flesh food carrieth man away from prophecy, away from spirituality. That's what I should have just kept reading. That's what I was trying to figure out. Sometimes we just need to keep reading. Look, okay. All right, let me read it again. I'm gonna just start over. Okay. Verse 9. Were the positive and negative, let me go back one more. That which is erroneously called instinct in animals is the capacity to be moved by the positive and negative vortexia. Were the positive and negative currents equal in duration, the sexes born into the world would be equal in number. Males are the manifestation of positive vortexia and females negative. The more positive the female, the less fruitful. But the opposite of this is the male's power. Herb food for man cultivateth the negative condition. Flesh food for man increaseth the positive, which is to say, flesh food carrieth man away from prophecy, away from spirituality. So if y'all see a fat prophet preaching to you, he is not nowhere close to prophesying correctly to you. Let's just remember that. Let me stop. But I'm so serious, so serious. Especially y'all meet me at Golden Corral afterwards, eating up all the chicken on the buffet, all the steak, waiting in line for the shrimp. I just pay attention on Sundays. If you go to a buffet let me leave people alone. Herb food for man cultivateth the negative condition. Flesh food for man increaseth the positive, which is to say, Flesh food carrieth man away from prophecy, away from spirituality. A nation of meat eaters will always culminate in disbelievers in spirituality, and they become addicted to corporal passions. That's the answer right there for everybody in the pulpit. And I'm just talking about Christians because that's the branch I come from. Jamia, shalom, shalom. Trina, hey girl, hey. A nation of meat eaters will always culminate in disbelievers in spirituality, and they become addicted to corporal passions. Such men cannot understand. To them, the world is vanity and vexation, if poor or rich, a place to revel in for lust's sake. Let the prophet steer clear of them, nor marry with them, nor have anything in common with them. For though a man learn all the motions and powers of the corporal worlds, his information is still but as a drop of water compared to the ocean, when measured by the seer and prophet that seeth the atmospheric and Ethereal worlds. Chapter 10. It is not the part of this book to deal with spiritual matters only so far as enableth the student to begin ethic knowledge or spiritual knowledge, right? Knowledge past the earth. It is not the part of this book to deal with spiritual matters only so as far enableth the student to begin ethic knowledge. First, then, there are two kinds of prophecy, or two ways to prophesy. For example, the ant and the bee and many animals prophesy in regard to an approaching winter. Yeah, okay. All right, Tootie. For example, the ant and the bee and many animals prophesy in regard to an approaching winter. Even birds begin to fly toward tropical regions whilst it is yet warmer. Even birds begin to fly toward tropical regions whilst it is yet warm weather. These creatures prophesy by the direct action of vortexian currents upon them. They feel what is approaching because the unseen cause is already upon them. Man can learn to acquire the same kind of prophecy, and this is different from the prophecy herein before mentioned, because he prophesied in this last method without rules or calculations. To attain this kind of prophecy, the following discipline is the requisite. Hold on. Go ahead and pull your highlights back out if you desire to prophesy this way. If you desire to prophesy at all. To attain this kind of prophecy, the following discipline is requisite. To live in the fields and forests. Most of y'all knew. Y'all gone. Like, live in the fields and the forest. Hold on, let me go back. Let me just start it over. Verse 1. Listen. Look, I might as well put my highlighter back. I'm telling y'all to get a highlighter. Live in the field. Okay, let me go back. I'm gonna quit playing. It is not the part of this book to deal with spiritual matters, only so far as enableth the student to begin ethic knowledge. First, then, there are two kinds of prophecy, or two ways to prophesy. For example, the ant and the bee and many animals prophesy in regard to an approaching winter. Even birds begin to fly toward tropical regions whilst it is yet warm weather. These creatures prophesy by the direct action of vortexian currents upon them. They feel what is approaching because the unseen cause is already upon them. Man can learn to acquire the same kind of prophecy, and this is different from the prophecy herein before mentioned, because he prophesied in this last method without rules or calculations. To attain this kind of prophecy, the following discipline is requisite. To live in the fields and forests and study the action of unseen forces upon himself. To eat not fish, nor flesh, nor any food that cometh of animals. To bathe daily. To permit no passion to enter his mind. To abnegate self and to wed himself to the Creator for righteousness' sake. And to do good, to discipline his mind. To remain in any given direction on any subject for days if necessary, to become oblivious to pain, after which he shall receive anointment from one who had previously attained the seership. Many of us might be too early in life. Especially if you, it didn't say this, but in the, where is it? To permit no passion to enter his mind. That right there includes sexual activity with your spouse. So if you enjoy that, this particular level of prophecy might not yet be for you. You might have to wait to get here a little bit later. And then maybe if both y'all still living strong, maybe y'all can camp more, right? You go camping out in the fields, spend as much time out there as you want, paying attention to the elements, all that stuff, right? But if you're single, you might be able to attain to this particular level of seership, right? Let's see. Set apart, it ain't for you. Look, hold on. Listen. To attain such look, I should have just kept reading, right? Look. To attain such prophecy is to forfeit sexual powers. And I want that level of seership, but not at this level in life. I'm sorry, I'm just, when I get a little older. To attain such prophecy is to forfeit sexual powers, to forfeit appetite, to forfeit ambition for leadership and fame, to forfeit concern for the opinions of the world. In fact, to become a bridegroom or bride to the Creator. Not all persons can attain to this, but some are born closely allied to it. There is also another kind of prophecy, wherein man prophesieth by spirits speaking through him. Now, this is the one that we see a lot, right? Even in the church house, right? Even in the church house. And sometimes it don't even be the ones that's in a higher light prophesying through them, right? If y'all not paying attention, they so good with their words, they'll trip you up. You got to be paying attention to them. Listen. There is also another kind of prophecy, wherein man prophesieth by spirits speaking through him. This is, look. This is dangerous, for lying spirits may come to him. Look. Rather, let man seek to become one with the Father, making close observation of the rules of vortexia, for in this he provideth for the department of all his faculties. All right. That was the end of that chapter. Now we start in chapter 11, Rules in College of Prophecy. Matter of fact, that might be the title today. Rules in College of Prophecy. Alicia, look like we ain't gonna be that kind of prophet for a very long time. So there's a couple things. Yeah, let me keep going. Rules in College of Prophecy, primary. The following signs are given in words, to wit: flag, rising sun, salute the east, children of dawn. The signs are, first, the folded hands, second, the soothe, and third, the supplication. O thou setting sun. Response: in Jehovah's name, how many chiefs dwell in dawn? Response: 3 or more. How station, O thou high noon? Response: the 3 lights are east, west, and north. The smoke and fire rise from the altar. Here followeth the secondary in the chamber above. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, let me read it over. Okay. The following signs are given in words, to wit: flag, rising sun, salute the east, children of dawn. The signs are, first, the folded hands, second, the soothe, S-O-O-T-H-E, like soothing sound. Second, the soothe, And third, the supplication. O thou setting sun, response, in Jehovah's name, how many chiefs dwell in dawn? Response, 3 or more. How stationed, O thou high noon? Response, the 3 lights are east, west, and north. The smoke and fire rise from the altar. Here followeth the secondary in the chamber above. The voice of the east, how are the lines of living fire, O noon? Response, as the sun, which is the light of the corporal earth, riseth in the east to adorn the day, and ascendeth the south at high noon as the glory thereof, and setteth in the west, so in remembrance of Jehovah are stationed the representatives of a lodge of dawn. What is dawn? 3 years or more at the youth of a cycle. The students then present their tables, and the college is declared open in the words, in Jehovah's name, give ear to the voice. With Moses and Capilla, both the above were merged into one lodge. The second began with flag at high noon. O thou fire of heaven, how many chiefs, rabbis, mark the altar of Jehovah? 4 or more, thou setting sun, speak. How stand the fathers? Response, my hands shield the light of the all-seeing eye. My heart I cast to the winds. As a circle divided into 4 quarters is the symbol of the name Jehovah, thus making the sign cloven twice across. Who hath dominion over all things? So are the 4 sides of the world represented by 4 fathers in the chamber of light in the temple of holies, which is square with east and west and north and south, for the honor and glory of our Father in heaven. How are they numbered? 3 33s and 1 99. Wherefore these signs of blood and death? That was a question. Wherefore these signs of blood and death? They are the 4 heads of the beast. They are always stationed in the 4 corners of the lodge. Why in the 4 corners? Because of the darkness upon them. They profess peace, but practice war. How are they numbered? 1, 11, 66, and 666, the number of the beast. And after 66 is reference number 10, which down at the bottom says 1, 11, 66, with 66 in brackets, and 666. Let's go back up. In thy name we are assembled, O Jehovah. Give us strength, wisdom, and love, that we may avoid the fatal numbers, and that we may glorify thee and thy dominions. Amen. Okay, so those must be the fatal numbers. There is no such thing as separating science and religion. To obtain knowledge is to do good. These are valuable. Bella, stop that. Without discipline, knowledge cannot be obtained. Without discipline, little good can be accomplished. I like that. That's kind of what my husband was saying this morning, right? Being a jack of all trades, a master of none. Pick one thing and focus. That's good. He done went back upstairs. Let me read it again. Without discipline, knowledge cannot be obtained. Without discipline, little good can be accomplished. Forms and ceremonies must accompany discipline, otherwise inharmony overcometh all. These are religion. To not be puffed up with self-conceit and be willing to become good. These are the foundations for a good prophet. To be not puffed up with self-conceit and to be willing to become good. These are the foundations for a good prophet. But in all gifts, the rules of prophecy should apply. If a man be gifted in music, he should study music and not rely wholly on inspiration, the vortexian tide. If gifted in healing, he should study and learn to apply the researches of others and not rely wholly on the Vortexian currents. If gifted in prophecy, he should also learn the rules of vortices and planets. The combination of gifts with good learning, this is the highest, right? So it's a lot of people, oh, I just got the gift and talent, but you don't study, you lazy bum. You're going to be all over the place. Go study your craft. I'll read it again. Let me just go back to verse 7. Without discipline, knowledge cannot be obtained. Without discipline, little good can be accomplished. Forms and ceremonies must accompany discipline. Otherwise, inharmony overcometh all. These are religion. To be not puffed up with self-conceit, and to be willing to become good. These are the foundations for a good prophet. But in all gifts, the rules of prophecy should apply. If a man be gifted in music, he should study music and not rely wholly on inspiration. And after inspiration, it's the Vortexian tide. Yes.
What's your next year? Where are you going?
I'm going to take y'all to karate camp, girl. Where you think we're going? Where we been going all week? Okay. Go pull you out something to wear today, girl. Move. Quit interrupting me, girl. Look, I'm almost done. Oh yeah, we have 41 minutes. No, I got a little more than that. I'm allotted 20 more. But in all gifts, the rules of prophecy should apply. If a man be gifted in music, he should study music and not rely wholly on inspiration, the Vortexian tide. If gifted in healing, he should study and learn to apply the researches of others and not rely wholly on the Vortexian currents. If gifted in prophecy, he shall also learn the rules of vortices and planets. The combination of gifts with good learning, this is the highest. He that healeth by laying on of hands only giveth off the vortexia he hath previously received. Let him see to it that he replenish himself by sunlight, so-called, and trees and herbs and ground to walk upon. For giving away without replenishing will soon result in nothing. All right, so you got a lot of people out here say they doing the work, laying on the hands and all that stuff, but they don't even understand this basic stuff to keep their own bodies in good working order, feeding it with the fruits and vegetables, getting a rest, sitting out in the sun, getting a good natural vitamin D, water and stuff. You're going to drain yourself, right? And then you're going to be out there looking crazy, trying to do and wonder why you ain't getting no results, right? You just still hanging on from what was yesterday, but you ain't did nothing to keep getting what you got yesterday that gets better every day. He that healeth by laying on of hands only giveth off the vortexia he hath previously received. Let him see to it that he replenish himself by sunlight, so-called, and trees and herbs and ground to walk upon. For giving away without replenishing will soon result in nothing. As a young child sleeping with a very old person loseth its vortexia, becoming emancipated, or as a negative husband is devoured by a positive wife, or a negative wife devoured by a positive husband, so is the prophet consumed by the multitude. Wow. As a young child, hold on, you got to hear the previous verse. He that healeth by laying on of hands only giveth off the vortexia he hath previously received. Let him see to it that he replenish himself by sunlight, so-called, and trees and herbs and ground to walk upon. For giving away without replenishing will soon result in nothing. So if you're giving away everything you got without replenishing yourself, you're going to become a bunch of nothing, right? That's what it was saying. As a young child sleeping with a very old person loseth its vortexia or its energy, becoming emancipated, or as a negative husband is devoured by a positive wife, or a negative wife devoured by a positive husband, so is the prophet consumed by the multitude. When a prophet hath attained to discharge vortexia so as to make raps at will, he is also subject to the presence of people from the unseen worlds. And these people, spirits or angels, use this vortexia for a foundation for Sargis, right? So you know how you can feel yourself being zapped, your energy being zapped by some people? The flip side of that also happens. You can actually strengthen yourself by the vortexia or the energy of other people. You can literally draw the energy from other people, right? That's what this is saying. As a young child sleeping with a very old person loseth its vortexia, becoming emancipated, or as a negative husband is devoured by a positive wife, or a negative wife devoured by a positive husband, so is the prophet consumed by the multitude. When a prophet hath attained to discharge vortexia so as to make raps at will, he is also subject to the presence of the people from the unseen worlds. And these people...
is the reading for today.
And these people, spirits or angels, use this vortexia for a foundation for Sargis. The ancient prophet caused the worshipers to sit in the dark, because all people give off the negative current in the dark, which they receive as a positive in the light, and bade them to sit in crescent, whilst he sat betwixt the horns. So you make a circle like the crescent of the moon. He made them sit in a crescent like that, and he sat between the horns, right? Drawing all the energy from all y'all jokers. Think about how the pulpits are designed. The ancient prophets caused the worshipers to sit in the dark, because all people give off the negative current in the dark, which they receive as positive in the light, and bade them sit in crescent, whilst he sat betwixt the horns. Wherefore the decrees of the prophet were called tau, or bulls. In this form of the altar, the prophet was supplied somewhat with vortexia by the audience. It cometh to this: vortexia is unseen power, but it is without sense or judgment. Next back of this standeth the life of every living thing, and next back of all standeth the Creator, Jehovah. All learning, science, and religion are but far off stepping stones to lead man up to him. To acknowledge this and to call upon him constantly is to keep open the road to receive his hand and hear his voice. Is he in there? Oh, he in there? Do you hear him in there? Do you hear him in there? Yeah. Oh, I was like, he might be gone. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, they changed jobs. My husband like, why ain't you out this house? You ain't got to work today? Mr. Murphy don't be playing about work. Get your tail up and go. Okay. No, but they're projects. He's a subcontractor for Dominion Power. And their cities, they're done with the work for the cities that they were working in. So they're currently in Chesapeake, which he has to be to work a little bit later because it's so close. Hey, son.
Young Padawan, what you got going on with you, buddy?
Y'all, and this... Oh, yes, please. And this, y'all, that is the end of the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy.
See, that's I'm already ahead of you.
I thought trash day was Tuesday.
It ain't Tuesday, it's Thursday.
Have we ever had a Tuesday trash day?
Yes, we have.
We talked about it yesterday.
Back up. Go ahead and take that out, please.
The last house? Yeah, that was.
All right, beautiful people.
This ain't Chesapeake.
I don't know how this stuff. I'm used.
All right, so all right.
Why they gotta be having a conversation
I'm going to keep you
Why they gotta do this
informed on
in
how
here?
it's supposed to be and supposed to go.
Miss Amazing Wonders. Shalom, shalom.
Mom, I keep saying shalom.
Wednesday night or Thursday morning. I'd rather for it to be out Wednesday night.
Yes, he was.
So you don't have to worry about Thursday morning.
Tabitha said Dr. Sebi was a well-learned elder in herbs. Global Purpose, shalom, shalom. I don't think I said hey to you.
John's in the back.
No, it's in the front, man.
Oh. Wait, girl, where you at? What you mean? FYI, everyone is listening with me this day. Okay. But we done with the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy. What we at, 49 minutes? Let's
I got a book for you.
I know you do. You always got something for me.
You gonna read this chapter?
Let's do this. Let's do this today. Let's do this today because this the book is no. Well, it's not appropriate for yeah. Listen, we're going to end this reading today right here before we start the book of Safa, because I want to keep all this together, this first portion, the introduction, and it shows you some plates before we get started. So I kind of want to keep that together because this first chapter, Samoan interpretation, it's it's like going through giving like definitions, like, and it's a bunch of them. It reminds you of like the thus thou arts and begats chapter, like such and such begat whosoever, right? But it's a lot of that for this first one. For this first chapter, it really is a few pages full of it. And it is altogether, it's 121 verses. And like I said, most of it is definitions. So if I start this, I would definitely have to stop it because when we do this tomorrow, it's going to probably take the whole period just to do the Samoan interpretation chapter. So I'm going to save that for tomorrow. Oh, we won't be here tomorrow. Saturday. Tomorrow we're going to observe the Sabbath because of the way the moon fell for this particular moon cycle. All right. So that's it for today, y'all. But this was really good. So, y'all, it is Thursday. Happy Thursday. August the 25th, 2022. Day 195 of year 4. Reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. And of the 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1213. We read pages 512 all the way to page 515, which was the end of the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy found in OAHSPE. All right, beautiful people. Father, hold on. Let me pull something from here. Something from our reading. Oh, how about this? Father, learning to understand you is the ultimate form of discipline. Understanding your ways, how you move, how you created creation. Just sit inside time just to understand that. First of all, it's a gift and it's a pleasure, but it is the ultimate discipline. You are the source of ultimate discipline.
Now you know what I'm trying to do?
Okay. All right, y'all. So with that being said, Timothy, shalom, shalom. Okay. That's it for today, y'all. We out of here.
No, I said it.
Yeah, Bella gonna end it. I don't think anybody asked me no questions. Boy, you better cover your mouth. What's wrong with you? Oh. All right, y'all. That's it for today. We out here. I'll see y'all back here Saturday morning, 7:30. Remember on the week. Stop. He ain't about to touch it. Remember on the weekends, if we're not observing the Sabbath. Stop. Back up. If we're not observing the Sabbath on the weekends, we show up at 7:30. So I see y'all back here Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.